Hi y'all, it's Peach. This will be the one and only time I address the recent allegations of MonsterVerze being a copy of Royale High. So, let's begin. First things first, no, nothing in the game is stolen. Additionally, I want you guys to learn the difference between stolen, copied, and inspired. This video will be broken down into these three categories, the first of which being stolen. I've seen a lot of people use these three phrases interchangeably when it's just outright incorrect.
Hi ghouls, Vivi here. We are getting accused of stealing a lamppost. The original concept of the lamppost you see in MonsterVerze was made by Tio, way before Royale High was even thinking of releasing Campus 4. We have to start acknowledging that the things you see in games also exist in real life. The builders take inspiration from real life things. And that includes Royale High, that includes MonsterVerze, that includes any games you can think of.
I originally thought of showing you the problems with these claims, but I ended up vetoing the idea, simply because if people are able to make these claims without any form of proof, why do I have to provide proof that it's not true? Additionally, there's a much more recent and similar case of this happening before in the RH community, which is Crowd Academy. A lot of people always talk about the suing part with RH scripters suing Crowd Academy for stealing, but I've never seen anyone talk about the conclusion because Crowd Academy was found not guilty of theft at all. Additionally, it's assumed that they had to provide compensation to Pixelated Candy for the matter.
Here are some old works from our developers, just so you can see that, yeah, we have been doing that for years. After all those years, we have our own style, we have our own matchmaking, and it wouldn't make sense for us stealing, neither copying. We all have talent, and we are gonna use it.
Additionally, Pixelated Candy actually made another lawsuit for defamation of the matter, which she ultimately didn't win, but I still felt it was important to provide all the details regarding this case. This is a repetitive problem within the RH community, accusing upcoming games who even think of having a school and confusing their developers, causing a snowball effect that only hurts them in their game. MonsterVerze has never and will never use assets, scripts, or anything from RH. A lot of you aren't Roblox game developers, so you generally don't know anything in regards to theft and how it can affect the games who steal. But to keep it clean cut,
Tio, he has been building for years, and throughout all those years, he developed his own art style. All the texturing, color schemes, architecture, matchmaking, that all takes time, and it is not simply waking up and saying, I'm gonna build, and then copying assets from random games. That's not how things work. To make things look good, you have to be original. We have a bunch of talented devs. It's not a single person working on the maps. Everybody's putting their own love and their own hard work on this beautiful thing called MonsterVerze.
but to keep it clean cut, a game that steals from another would basically be a laggy, unplayable mess. If we stole items from another game or used items from the toolbox, it would just be inefficient for the game as a whole. Additionally, the game could easily get DMCA strike, copyrighted, or etc. if I was to release it with any stolen assets. That also leads me to my next topic. Copying. Let's continue and address copying. To give you a proper description of the word, a thing made to be identical or similar version of the original work. Copying in the game development world would be making a basically identical or similar project to an original. Some may feel like this is MonsterVerze. I say no. 1, because y'all haven't played the game. 2, because it's also illegal to some degree. Some forms of copying is actually protected under parody law, allowing individuals or even companies to parody and feature other bigger names and content without wrongfully being attacked for it. The biggest example I can think of this off of the top of my head is Shrek, featuring a lot of mentions of Disney without directly featuring that exact content. It could be claimed as similar to the original, but it's more closer to an inspiration, having bits and pieces of the original but creating something more interesting and different, making it its own unique movie. This is the same with MonsterVerze. I've stated on many different occasions via lives, videos, or flat out in writing that I have many inspirations for the game, and I'm a strong believer in taking a little bit of everything and making something new. This is a natural process with art and could constantly get people confused with the difference between copying and inspiration. Copying would be ignoring the process of creating something new and instead opting to make something exactly like the original. MonsterVerze has never and probably will never directly copy someone without it being slightly different and unique from the original. This is called inspiration. Now that we're at this part of the video, please make sure to follow our YouTube channel. Our trailer for the game is almost out and we'd love to show you ghouls what we have in store. With that said, back to the video. What is inspiration? Is it seeing a butterfly and making your own wings? Is it watching your mom cook and deciding to make your own food? Inspiration is a variety of things. To me, inspiration is the ability to look at something and expand upon it, making something entirely new off of an idea. MonsterVerze is very similar to the ideology I believe in, the game itself being clearly inspired by many different places and media, making it something unique in its own right to me. I've seen a lot of people say they feel like MonsterVerze's entire game is inspired by RH, which I'm here to specifically deny. That is simply just not true. MonsterVerze is inspired by many different things. It was inspired by the days my mom spent doing my braids. It was inspired by the times I spent drawing myself white, wishing I was that. It was inspired by the Flash games I used to play, customizing myself for hours. It was inspired by many different things, but mainly my own life. It's a dishonor to my most anticipated and, more importantly, my most treasured work to call it a copy, stolen, or even solely inspired by one thing. It's just not true. MonsterVerze is inspired by many different things. One of them is Royale High, but it's not just Royale High. It's inspired by Love Nikki, Final Fantasy, Aphmau, the list goes on. These things made up my life. The architecture that some would call a copy directly comes from my hometown, New Orleans, the city where I'm born and raised. Is it wrong for me to get inspiration from these places? The school that many would call theft looks identical to many I've attended. At the end of the day, I'm just a human like everybody else. And I know every other game developer had to go through a process similar to mine. So why is it just me being attacked for doing the same? I've said many times to people, you're not a game dev, so you don't know how this works, nor have you played my game. The only thing you've seen is what I've shown you. Please, in the very near future that's approaching, I want you to look back on this video and ask yourself, what is MonsterVerze? My answer to you is simple. MonsterVerze is MonsterVerze, where your second life is your afterlife. Later, witches.